Alright, now let's take a deep dive into the future methods, the questions that could come in your way. So, what is a future method? A future method is a method annotated at the rate future and runs in the background asynchronously. Why do you use future methods? You can use the future method for executing long-running operations. You want to make a call out to an external web service, or you want any other operation to run in its own thread. Now, couple of rules: future methods should be static and cannot return data. Okay, very important. Methods have to be static. At the rate fetch future annotation is required. But the benefit is you get enhanced governor limits. This part you can read it. I already covered it in the earlier videos of governor limits. So with respect to SOQL and DML, you get some enhanced governor limits. Primitive and collection as parameters, but no S object type. So parameters to this future method can be only primitives and collections. Okay, list and you cannot send S objects. So why do the interviewer will ask you what is the use of a future method if I cannot pass it an S, and why doesn't Salesforce allow to pass a S object? The reason is when I run an asynchronous method, it runs in a separate process or thread. Imagine that it takes around 30 minutes to finish. In that time, if I work on some records, the record might change, right? So till that time, by the time the asynchronous comes back, the record might have changed. So in that case, there will be some errors, there will be problematic, that will create a problem. So that is why the Salesforce does not allow S object in asynchronous methods, because we don't know when it will complete the execution and come back. By that time some data can change. So the interviewer may prod you more and say, okay, but I want to work with S objects, how will I do it? I want a future method which has to work with some records. Okay, I have a business case. So in that case, what you will do is, yes, we cannot pass S object, but we can definitely pass list of collections, right? So collection of record IDs you can pass. So look here. So I have a global class here in which I have at the rate future annotated future method, and look here, it is taking a list of record IDs. So this record IDs I can pass and process. So any processing that I want to do, even though I cannot send S objects, I can definitely prepare some query in some logic in some class and send that list of IDs, right? So this way I can use S objects in future methods if I want to do some processing. Now interviewer may ask you, now suppose I want to do a call out. Everybody knows what's a call out, right? We will cover that in the integration videos. Call out is calling a third party system like an HTTP call out and you get a response. Yes, you can do it from an asynchronous method, but provided you give an annotation called as call out equal to true. When you say at the rate future call out equal to true, what will happen is that method, future method, can do a external HTTP call out or anything like that. Okay, so it allows future methods to call external call outs. Now interviewer may ask you, now give me a more detailed example of a future method. So basically one of the biggest functionalities of future method is to perform isolated DML action. Now suppose you may get mixed DML errors, that is like if you update an account and a user object, user or setup objects, account or if you if in transaction, if you try to do DML or stuff with standard as well as setup objects, you may get mixed DML errors. So in that case, what you can do is you can write for standard objects, you can write a normal method, whereas for the setup objects, you can put it into a future method so that it will complete. So there will be no collision between the two. So let's take a look here. Example. So I have a util class here. So let's look at the first main method over here, which is the normal method, mixed DML future. So first I'm getting an account over here, creating a new account. Now after I create this new account, I want to insert a user with role below here, right? Here I create a new account, insert account, which is fine. But now I don't want to do this user part in this. So this user part, I'm going to call some method called as util.insert user with role, and I'm passing some parameters. Okay, so here if you see, it is annotated as future, and here I'm taking the parameters here. Okay, and here I'm creating I'm querying for a particular profile and a user role, and I'm creating a user over here. So what is happening is, this is a system object user and this is a normal standard object. So I'm not even though I'm doing a combination of both, I'm running these in a separate thread. So there will be no mixed DML errors. Mixed DML errors comes when you work with both standard objects and setup objects. Sometimes it throws an error. So here the scope of error is not there because this is running in a separate normal thread and this is running in a separate future thread process, right? But the transaction is one. Okay, please note that the transaction is one. Only thing is this is running in a separate future method.